Just weeks before the Epstein files were officially set to drop, Ellen DeGeneres quietly disappeared from the United States, and now Katt Williams is stepping forward, alleging a disturbing link between her and Ghislaine Maxwell. Behind the scenes, Epstein was rumored to have a powerful Hollywood insider on his payroll, and shocking new claims are surfacing that point directly at Ellen as that hidden connection.
Her stories have changed so many times about what happens, when it happens, how it happens, with different versions. And each time she speaks, there's a different version.
And that is from the documentary that's just aired in the United States. That's come just off the satellite. For more, we're joined by US broadcaster Cooper Lawrence to dissect it. What did you make of Ghislaine Maxwell?
It reminded me of Nobody Taught Me How to Curtsy and I Didn't Inhale. There was a lot of this evidence that came out during the trial that suddenly she's like, no, it's fake. I mean, during the trial, they showed her that photo and she said, yeah, that's me, that's my apartment, I recognize it. And, it was one of the things that indicted her. Now suddenly it's a fake.
On June 28, 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell was handed a 20-year federal prison sentence after being found guilty of working alongside Jeffrey Epstein in a scheme that exploited young victims, along with a staggering $750,000 fine. Prosecutors revealed that at the height of the operation, Maxwell wasn't just present, she was actively recruiting, identifying, and funneling victims into Epstein's world. The jury convicted her on 5 separate counts tied to a dark timeline spanning from 1994 to 2004, where girls were transported and abused under a network that remained hidden in plain sight. But here's where the timeline takes a strange turn. Around the same period that public scrutiny intensified, Ellen DeGeneres abruptly shut down her show following explosive accusations of a toxic, abusive workplace, and then, almost overnight, she vanished from the public eye without a trace.
DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said, Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
They're losing their minds.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a...
Maybe, at first glance, it all feels like coincidence. Just scattered events with no real connection. But then another shadow enters the story. Stephen Twitch Boss, one of Ellen DeGeneres' most trusted insiders and the executive producer of her show, suddenly dies right as the timeline begins to unravel. Reports claim his death came just 2 months after Ellen quietly relocated to the UK, re-emerging with a noticeably altered image, almost as if she were trying to disappear in plain sight. Officially ruled a suicide, the tragedy raised more questions than answers. Allegedly, in a final note, Twitch expressed that he could no longer be part of what he described as a dirty industry, apologizing to those he felt he had let down. He never named names, never exposed specifics, but the words he left behind painted a picture of pressure, guilt, and a silence that had become too heavy to carry.
Learning more tonight about the tragic side of Stephen Twitch Boss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him. The motel manager says he checked in under his own name and never left his room. We also now know that Twitch left a suicide note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past. Entertainer Tyler Perry knows firsthand what that is like.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best
This doesn't feel like coincidence anymore. It feels calculated. Ellen DeGeneres pulls the plug on a show generating hundreds of millions, right as the fallout from Ghislaine Maxwell's sentencing begins to ripple outward, and then she's gone. Not a quiet retreat, an exit that feels like it was forced by something closing in. According to Katt Williams, nothing in Hollywood happens by accident, and this was no exception. You don't walk away from an empire at its peak unless there's something far more dangerous lurking beneath the surface. The timing is too precise, the silence too loud. And the deeper you look, the more it starts to feel like Ellen didn't leave because she wanted to. She left because she was afraid of what might surface next.
The type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses.
But think about what you just think about what you just said. That's extremely thoughtful and powerful. It could only be what it was if it were those two. Those two, yes. Will Smith and Chris Rock. It could only be what it has been, yes. With those two black men.
If you put any other names together, the police are out on stage, they've cut to commercial, you didn't see what happened. By the time they come out, people have been removed, it goes on. It's certain ways things are handled when it's not intentional. When things go smoothly, but they seem chaotic, that means there was forethought and a plan. Somebody, even if it looks like, yeah, Janet Jackson just had a wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, there's no such thing.
Correct.
I don't care who you blame.
I believe that.
Somebody benefited. Yeah. So in all of these situations, there's a business involved and there's real money involved, and somebody's benefiting from this thing that looks like, oh, that just happened. Nah, no way. No way.
As more Epstein files continue to surface, people are starting to re-examine old clips of Ellen DeGeneres' show, and what they're noticing is deeply unsettling. Moments that once felt like harmless jokes are now being replayed with a completely different lens, as viewers draw eerie parallels to the disturbing allegations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and what reportedly took place behind closed doors on his island. Court records have pointed toward disturbing conversations involving genetics, reproduction, and the idea of preserving legacy at any cost, conversations that allegedly extended into elite circles, with figures like Peter Nygard also being mentioned in related discussions. And now, when people look back at certain segments from Ellen's show, the tone suddenly feels different, less like entertainment, and more like something hiding in plain sight, waiting to be understood.
Let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do this?
Not everybody.
Okay, and, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra? Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a...
It didn't stop with one name, because the deeper the story goes, the more it starts to feel like a pattern. Critics began whispering that Hollywood itself wasn't just aware, it was actively shaping narratives, slowly normalizing things the public would never question, until it was too late. Then an old clip resurfaces. March 20th, 2016. Steve Harvey sits across from Michelle Park, an Emmy-winning NBC host, as she casually introduces what she describes as one of Oprah Winfrey's favorite anti-aging products, a cream by SkinMedica. On the surface, it sounds like another celebrity beauty secret. But then the details emerge. The product is said to involve fibroblasts derived from neonatal foreskin, cells used in laboratories to grow and regenerate skin tissue. The company maintains it's a controlled scientific process. But online, a different narrative begins to spread. Conspiracy circles erupt, claiming this is part of something far darker, alleging that elite figures rely on such treatments in a relentless pursuit of youth, tying the skincare industry to whispers of exploitation that most people would rather not confront.
I'm gonna put a little on your hand.
I'd do that. Oprah did.
Yeah, Oprah did it. All right, so here, we're gonna rub it right in.
How come it's red?
I'll show you in a sec, Steve. So this is made from growth hormones of human...
Look, the wrinkles has just disappeared. I can't even ball my hand up.
So it's made from human foreskin.
You done sat up here and squirted somebody's private parts in my damn hand. What you laughing at?
I'm sorry.
This your last time on the show. This your last time.
When Chris Hansen began digging into the Epstein case, the narrative didn't get clearer, it got darker. The deeper he looked, the more it echoed what others had already started to fear. This wasn't limited to sexual crimes. According to claims circulating around the investigation, there were suggestions of something far more complex unfolding behind the scenes. Documents tied to the U.S. Department of Justice reportedly included emails indicating that Jeffrey Epstein had an interest in genetic engineering ideas centered around extracting and cultivating cells from minors, with disturbing theories about cloning and biological manipulation. The allegations go even further, claiming these cells were intended to be distributed among his powerful associates as a kind of treatment, sold under the promise of preserving youth. No official confirmation has validated the full extent of these claims, but the implications alone have been enough to send shockwaves through anyone paying attention, suggesting that whatever was happening on that island may have gone far beyond what the public was ever meant to see.
Yeah. Freakazoid. Yes. And part of his deal, he's in prison in jail up in Canada, waiting, charges all over the globe. But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get abortions and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the founder of youth. And we get into this in that documentary. And was Epstein involved in that sort of activity? I don't know.
That's where, and again, we just have to look at what we have and know what we don't yet.
Yeah.
But it's a question.
Yeah,
and you look at the context of the jerky stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at what other billionaire guys have done, were they in contact somehow? I mean, obviously, there are some people who are in the concentric circles of associates.
On an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, Katt Williams didn't hold back. He claimed the real power players in entertainment, the same producers and gatekeepers shaping careers, were allegedly using their positions for something far darker. According to him, access wasn't just about fame, it was leverage. He suggested that young men and women were being funneled through the system, quietly positioned and passed along to powerful elites behind closed doors. And then he dropped two names that sent shockwaves through the conversation: Sean Diddy Combs and Jeffrey Epstein, describing them as central figures at the top of a structure most people never even realize exists.
Why those one world people exist, because it's a very powerful concept to have and far too lucrative and beneficial to not. Everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Right. Supporters of these theories go even further, pointing to what they believe is hidden symbolism woven into Ellen DeGeneres' show, subtle moments that, in their eyes, weren't random at all. but part of a larger effort to slowly normalize what they claim was happening behind closed doors on Jeffrey Epstein's island. And then the story takes another turn. According to Katt Williams, there came a moment when he himself was allegedly approached, invited into a world he says he immediately rejected. In a conversation with Theo Vaughn, Katt described being stunned by the level of power Harvey Weinstein seemed to wield. He claimed Weinstein presented him with an offer that sounded unreal, access to any actress he wanted, all just a call away. But the cost, he implied, was silence and participation. Stay quiet. Play along. Help bring in more people. According to these claims, it wasn't just established stars being targeted. Fans, aspiring models, struggling actors, even young performers were allegedly being pulled into a system designed to exploit ambition and trust. Virginia Giuffre, one of the most outspoken survivors connected to Jeffrey Epstein, was among the first to pull back the curtain on how this alleged system operated. Her accounts painted a picture that went far beyond a single individual. Epstein, she suggested, wasn't acting alone. He couldn't have been. Building a network that reached hundreds of victims tied to some of the world's most powerful figures would have required coordination, planning, and people. According to these claims, there were multiple recruiters moving quietly in the background, identifying and manipulating vulnerable individuals, guiding them into Epstein's orbit. Ghislaine Maxwell was only one name that surfaced publicly, but the implication was far more unsettling. If one recruiter could operate in plain sight for years, how many others were there, unseen, unnamed, and never brought to justice? The only reason Ghislaine Maxwell was ultimately exposed, many believe, was because the scale of what she was allegedly doing became impossible to hide. The numbers alone told a story that couldn't stay buried. She wasn't just connected to Jeffrey Epstein, she was, according to multiple accounts, a central figure in how the operation functioned. Survivors have described a calculated pattern, identifying vulnerable teenagers, those struggling, isolated, or in need of money, and then carefully positioning Epstein as someone who could help, someone who could change their lives. But behind that promise was something far more sinister. Several victims have said the most disturbing part wasn't just what happened later, it was how precisely Maxwell allegedly chose her targets. Catching them at their lowest moments, understanding their pain, and then using that vulnerability as leverage, until saying no longer felt like an option.
No voice. Ghislaine has no soul. And you know yourself what I've been through trying to take her down. And the reason why I've had to go through that is because she's a dangerous human being. She will reoffend, and reoffend. These people never stop, ever.
So you were by both of them in your very first encounter?
Yeah, both of them. I was abused by Ghislaine and Epstein, and it broke my heart. I don't mean to sound sexist in any way, shape, or form. I don't hate men. I'm not a man hater, but I expected it from a man, but I didn't expect it from a woman. And so I think that's what still hurts me the most to this day is that, as a mom, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, I couldn't imagine putting someone through what she put me through. And yeah, I think that's what hurts the most.
Recently, an old interview featuring Ghislaine Maxwell resurfaced, and it didn't just trend, it reignited everything. In the clip, viewers believe she all but confirmed the suspicions people have whispered for years. The narrative shifts sharply. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just another criminal who met his end. He was, according to these claims, silenced before he could reveal who else was involved. And that's where the fear deepens. Because if even a fraction of the names already linked to him are accurate, reportedly over 400 powerful figures across politics, business, and entertainment, then what remains hidden could be far more explosive. Some reports suggest millions of pages of documents were heavily redacted, locking away details the public was never meant to see. And even that, insiders claim, represents only a portion of what was actually recovered. The question isn't just what we know, it's what we were never allowed to find out.
Fox News Alert, the Department of Justice just dropped last month's jailhouse interview with Epstein Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's a doozy. First, she doesn't think Epstein killed himself.
So you think he did not die by suicide, given all the things we just talked about?
I do not believe he died by suicide. No.
And do you believe that, do you have any speculation or view of who killed him?
No, I don't.
And what about Epstein's infamous client list? Did he even have a list?
You never observed, or you never saw any sort of list or black book or a list of individuals who linked to certain masseuses or
Absolutely
anything
no.
like that?
Absolutely no. There is no list. There is no, I'm not aware of any blackmail. I never heard that. I never saw it, and I never imagined it.
The list doesn't exist? So flight manifests don't exist? The surveillance tapes don't exist? The bank records don't exist? Well, what about Trump? The media spent the last couple months trying to smear him as Epstein's predator pal.
I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
And did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world?
Absolutely never. In any context.
A good portion of the interview focused on Bill Clinton. Author Daniel Halper told Primetime Clinton was romantically involved with Maxwell. Would Ghislaine sell out her old flame? And she was asked about Bill and said he never did anything inappropriate and that Bill never went to Epstein's island.
And then there's the chilling pattern many supporters point to, what they claim happens to those who speak too loudly. Katt Williams has openly suggested that people in power don't just ignore whistleblowers, they close in on them. In recent remarks, he hinted that pressure was building behind the scenes, saying it felt like the same forces he'd been calling out were starting to circle back around him. According to him, it's not a question of if but when. And that statement alone has fueled even more fear, because if someone with his platform feels like time is running out, it raises a darker question about what really happens to those who refuse to stay silent.
Infiltrate the Illuminati, find out what the fuck they got going on, get the information, run back to y'all, tell y'all everything I know. That's my motherfucking job. But I don't know how many more times I'm gonna be able to sneak in there. Thanks to Shannon Sharp and 90 million views, I can't sneak very often. So while I was in there this last time, knowing that my last report might be my last report, I went in there and I got information for everybody. Look at my white friends. Us too? That's right, whites.
Question: which one do you prefer, lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring minors for prostitution? I suppose lewd and lascivious conduct. I would prefer lewd and lascivious conduct with a prostitute if possible. That exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on May 23, 2008 is part of some 18,000 emails from Epstein's personal Yahoo account obtained by Bloomberg News.
The emails, which suggest the inbox was most active between 2005 and 2008, include messages spanning 2002 to 2022. Epstein died in 2019, and emails received after that are largely spam or marketing offers. Overall, the emails offer a raw look into the disgraced financier and offender's world.
While this inbox wasn't the only one he used, the newly uncovered emails do suggest how central Maxwell was to his life. Something that contradicts her telling of events. She's characterized herself as a former girlfriend and property manager for Epstein, not someone with eyes into his vast influence machine or trafficking operation. She's currently serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Maxwell was central to curating Epstein's inner circle, according to these emails. In some emails, she's organizing visits with the likes of Sergey Brin and his then-girlfriend, Anne.
Despite everything tied to her conviction, Ghislaine Maxwell's post-sentencing reality has only added more fuel to the outrage. Reports claim she was moved into conditions far more comfortable than expected, described by some as closer to a minimum security environment, complete with privileges that raised serious eyebrows. Even rumors of personal comforts like a companion animal. One inmate allegedly spoke out, saying her experience inside looked nothing like anyone else's, that she was treated differently, almost protected. And what disturbed people even more were claims about her attitude. According to those accounts, there was no visible remorse. When survivors appeared publicly, sharing their stories, breaking down in front of Congress, she reportedly showed complete indifference, as if none of it touched her at all. And now, with pressure mounting for more files to be released, the question hanging in the air is impossible to ignore. What else is being kept out of sight?
Know for a fact she's getting special treatment.
Les Trent spoke to Sam Mangle, a prison consultant who has 3 clients at the same facility as Maxwell, the Bryan Federal Prison Camp in Texas.
Whether it's access to a laptop computer, which is unheard of, to visits where they lock down the camp and no one can leave their bunks while she's having visitors.
Allegations of other perks, according to the New York Times, include meals being delivered to her cell and being served bottled water while other inmates drink tap water, playing with service dogs, showering alone, and watching TV alone in staff-only areas. They even provided her with an umbrella to shade her from the hot Texas sun while she took her daily walks.
She's been given the freedom and liberties that the other inmates do not have.
Last July, Maxwell was moved from a medium security prison in Florida to the minimum security camp in Texas. This followed her meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. According to reports, fellow inmates at the facility were threatened with solitary confinement or transferred to a tougher penitentiary if they voiced complaints about Maxwell's perks.
They've been told from the day she got there, do not discuss her, do not put anything in writing, do not talk about her on the phone, do not make any trouble regarding Ms. Maxwell, or we will move you to another location.
As more documents surface and more voices begin to break their silence, one thing is becoming clear: this story is nowhere near finished. Every new release pulls back another layer, every new testimony raises the stakes even higher, and what's still hidden may be far more explosive than anything we've seen so far. This isn't just a story anymore. It's an unfolding chain of revelations that refuses to stay buried. So if you want to stay ahead of what's coming next, the names, the details, the truths that are still fighting to come out, make sure you lock in now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because what's about to be revealed next could change everything. And don't stay silent. Drop your thoughts below, because the more people speak, the harder it becomes for any of this to stay hidden.